What's going on, you guys? This is AllDanny1 and I'm going to be giving you guys another Ghost of Tsushima build video. So this build video I'm going to be giving you guys is going to be for the Ronin. So this build is the build I ended up using for Nightmare, the Nightmare survival mission. So for the most part this is going to be a really good build just to use in general for most Nightmare content. But yeah, so let's go ahead and take a look. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the katanas. So the katana I like using a lot is water katana. Now, it doesn't really matter what katana you actually use. You can use whatever katana you prefer using. For me, it's the water katana with Water Master. But it's the perk that you really want to end up using, which is going to be the ability cooldown reduction. The reason why you want ability cooldown reduction is so that way you can always drop your heal. Now, the other option would actually be for melee resolve gain. So you want to make sure you get melee resolve gain on one of the two. For me personally, I would go melee resolve gain on the first perk and then ability cooldown reduction on the second perk. This way you can at least have your heal back a lot more often, and then also have your ultimate back a lot faster with the melee resolve gain as well. Up next is going to be your ranged attack. So the ranged one is going to be the bomb pack. So you don't want to go ahead, you don't want to use any of the bows because the bows, one, they take too long to use, and two, bomb pack is just a lot more powerful when it comes to AoE. Then it helps with clearing mobs and even just pushing them back away from allies. Now, there's two different versions. You have bomb packs and then you have the forbidden medicine. Both of them are really good. Forbidden medicine is really nice because you can actually throw it at your allies and it'll heal them. But for me, I only really use just the bomb pack, not to heal or anything. I don't even really use it to kill enemies too much. I use it to build up my ultimate. So if I notice there's a lot of enemies in an area, I'll use my ultimate even if no one's down, just so that way everyone's getting healed. And then I'll just spam my bomb packs, at least like 3 or 4 bombs on the enemy, so that way I can get my ultimate back to full and still do a lot of damage to enemies. Now for the perks that I'm using is blast radius and then status effect damage with the black powder bomb. Now, for the there's not going to be many other options. I mean, I guess you could technically go with the melee stagger damage. So this way you can do more damage to the enemy's stagger bar, allowing you and basically making an opening for you and your team to do more damage to enemies. Other than that, I mean, there's really no reason to run status effect duration or anything like that. So status effect damage is good for black powder bomb. The I think the concussion bombs itself doesn't apply fire, but the black powder bomb does. It applies fire, and it's just like a giant mega bomb. You get 2 of them. The other options would be flash bomb and assassin unlock. So if you want to use the bomb pack on assassins, it's really good. You can, but you just have to make sure you unlock the assassin unlock. And flash bomb is actually pretty nice because it'll just stun the enemies. If you do use flash bomb though, then you got to make sure you run status effect duration, so that way they're affected by the flash longer. Black powder, you want to make sure you have status effect damage. Up next is going to be the charm. So you're going to want to end up using the Ronin's charm. So with the Ronin charm, you want to actually use resolve increase on the 3rd perk because you're all about being able to heal your team. You're not going to worry about using Spirit Bear or Healing Spirit because you're not going to be using neither of those for just in general. I mean, you could technically use Spirit Bear, but you want to have more resolve. I guess dots, whatever you want to call them, because the more you have, the less you have to really kind of like build up to use your ultimate again. So in total, you're gonna have 5 resolves. Without this, you're gonna have 4. But having the 5 just makes it easier because that's already 66% into your next ultimate. So when you use your ultimate, you'll only be 33% away, which is just 1 bar away or 1 dot away. And all you gotta do is just hit 1 or 2 enemies with the bombs, and you'll get your ultimate. For the 2 perks, the first perk you want to use the healing incense radius. The reason why is because it's just better to have the radius increase versus the duration. The duration doesn't really matter too much. I mean, it's nice to have, but the radius is even better because it gives you and your team more moving space rather than having to stay in that small circle. This is just a lot better. It can go up to 100%, so basically doubling the size of the radius. And then the second perk, you have 2 options. You can go ability cooldown reduction, or you can go resolve gain. So resolve gain obviously would be really, really, really nice to have, so that way you can build up your ultimate a lot faster. It's a 5 to 10%. Ability cooldown reduction is nice to have as well, because this allows you to drop your healing more often. But for me, I personally would go with the resolve gain over the ability cooldown, just because you're basically your healing is not your healing. Your ultimate is the main source of healing. It's the main source of everything. So the more resolve gain you have, the better. But ability cooldown reduction is not a bad trade-off as well. So the next thing you have is going to be your Ghost Weapon 1. So there's going to be three different options you can go with. Spirit Kunai, just a regular dirt throw, Lady Sandra's Surprise, Touch of Heaven, or just a regular Sticky Bomb. So for me personally, I would just go with the Spirit Kunai or with the Touch of Heaven. The reason why, well, I mean, I guess Dirt Throw in general is also really good to have because it interrupts and it stuns. Technically, it stuns. It doesn't stagger, but it interrupts an enemy, stopping them from fighting for a few seconds. And so does the Sticky Bomb. It's really nice for that too, and it knocks back and it does a lot of damage. Spirit Kunai with this, the only good thing about this, because for me personally, I don't like kunais in general, but the Spirit Kunai with this, when you get a kill with it, it reduces all of your cooldowns by 15 seconds. What would have been really, really sick with this is if it reduced all of yours and your allies' cooldown by 10 to 15 seconds or something like that. That would have been really nice, but I think that would have been very OP as well. But if you do end up wanting to run the Spirit Kunai, make sure you do run cooldown reduction, damage increase, and the supermassive. The reason why is because obviously if you run cooldown reduction, it drops your cooldown from 30 seconds to about like 26.5 or something like that. And then you also want to maximize the amount of damage Spirit Kunai can do so you know you can guarantee on getting the kills. So you want to get damage increase and supermassive because supermassive deals extra damage as well as pushing or throwing lighter enemies back. And then if you do want to use Dirt Throw, I would just personally run cooldown reduction and cooldown reduction on kill with Rancid, or I think it's called Fire It Up. And then for a Touch of Heaven, you can just, I mean, you're really going to be, I mean, you're not going to use this just for the healing. It's going to help with the healing. But in general, you're going to want to use probably damage increase and the radius increase as well for the perk. So I would use damage increase for sure, blast radius probably, as well as increased radius here, because that way you can have up to a 75% increase in radius and then obviously you have the damage increase from this as well. So I mean, like I said, it's up to you which three you want to use. All three of them are really good to use, but yeah, for me I used Spirit Kunai, but there will be some times where I like to switch to using Dirt Throw or Lady Sandra's Surprise or Touch of Heaven or just a regular Sticky Bomb. So the last thing is going to be the Ghost Weapon number 2. So for Ghost Weapon number 2, you're going to probably want to use Smoke Bomb, and the reason why is because Smoke Bomb comes in so clutch for a lot of different moments. If you don't want to use a legendary on Ghost Weapon number 2, you can always use Mist of Yagata because it does heal anyone inside the smoke. But if not, then it's fine. You don't need to use that. You can always just use the regular Smoke Bomb. The Smoke Bomb I would recommend going with is one that gives you cooldown reduction and cooldown reduction on kill. You want to go with both. And the reason why is because it's a 120-second cooldown. That's a really long. That's 2 minutes of a cooldown. So having the cooldown reduction and cooldown reduction on kill is going to be very useful. The perk you can go with is Munitions, or you could end up going with Lucky. So Lucky is really nice because of the fact that it's a 15% chance, first of all, but 15% chance to instantly reset cooldowns on use, allowing you to basically completely skip that whole 2 minutes and have your Smoke Bomb ready for whatever, I guess, occurrence that's going to happen again. Or you can go with Munitions. Munitions is going to be very nice, very, very nice for a Ronin because of the fact that you're going to be using your bombs a lot. So having just random ammo drop when you use a Smoke Bomb, it's guaranteed that ammo will drop, but it's just randomized on what type of ammo will drop. It can be flashbang, it can be the black powder, or just regular bombs. It will be bombs, or it'll be ammo type for the ranged weapon you're using. It's never going to be ammo type for a bow or the blowgun or whatever it is that you're not using. It's always going to be for whatever you are using. So that's why I like Munitions for the Ronin, because I'm always able to spawn more ammo. for myself or whatever other Ronin that I'm playing with, or if I'm playing with the hunter and they need ammo as well, and they can just get it whenever it drops somewhere. But yeah, I mean, for me personally, smoke bomb is just better because you can just drop it on yourself or drop it in the middle or wherever. Hunters can just stay in it and never be seen, or an assassin can go in it, dip in and out. And for you, I mean, you can just use it as like a little safety net. If there's too many enemies, just drop the smoke. They won't be able to attack you because they can't see you. But yeah, the other options that are there is demon seeds or caltrops. Don't really care for caltrops, but demon seeds is pretty nice because of the weakening effect. Kenji shared brew and just the regular healing gourd is also really nice too, but I don't think you really need it because you already are a healer as it is, so you don't need the shared brew. Just in general, smoke bomb to me is better. But if you don't like using smoke bomb, then I would just go with Kenji shared brew so you can heal yourself and your allies. If you do use Kenji shared brew though, I would recommend going strong brew because it increases the healing done by 50%, not just to yourself but to your allies as well. And then I would go with injured resolve gain, and probably not ghost offering health, probably damage reduction or cooldown reduction. But I mean, ghost offering health is also pretty nice too because you do get more health back. Just more health in general from the ghost offerings, the things that you can go and pick up ammo from. So now we're going to go over the techniques. So for the first thing, which is your class ability, you have the two options. You have Spirit Animal and Healing Essence. For the most part, you're going to be running Healing Essence because it's just better overall. Especially when you have the increased radius, it's just pretty much as big as the survival circle, which allows you and your team to just have more leeway in movement. Whereas the Spirit Animal, you can have the healing version of it on your perk, on your charm, your class item, but the only issue with it is it's not as reliable when it comes to healing because it runs around a lot and the radius on it's pretty small. You could technically get the radius on your charm as well for the Spirit Animal radius, but I still don't think it's worth running. It's only going to be worth running Spirit Animal if you're planning on using the Spirit Bear though. Next is going to be the first technique slot. So you have Enhanced Ghost Weapons, Weakening Burst, and Ronin Unleashed. Ronin Unleashed is actually pretty nice because it obviously lets you use your ability faster, your healing, it'll come back faster. But you're not really going to need this, especially with using the kunai. You're actually going to be able to get your healing incense a lot faster if you end up getting a kill with it. Now, if you do plan on using the kunai, then I would 100% go with Enhanced Ghost Weapons because it's going to increase the damage that the kunai can do by 50%. If you don't want to use the kunai, then you can go with Weakening Burst so that way you can weaken enemies. Obviously, for this week, the Nightmare Survival, this isn't going to work because they're immune to status effects. So you'd have to use Ronin Unleashed. But like I said, Ronin Unleashed is also really nice because you are able to get your abilities back faster. So if you're not using kunais, the Spirit Kunai, one of these two are going to be really good. Or if you are, I guess if you're using the grenade as well, then use the ghost weapons because obviously you want to do more damage. But yeah, now we're going to go ahead and go into this perk number 2 of your techniques. So you have Staggering Imposition, Resolve Increase, and Quick Regen. Quick Regen is not going to be bad, but I mean, I guess you could use this with Shared Brew if you're playing solo. But even then, Resolve Increase is still going to be a little bit better to run, or not even a little bit, a lot better to run, because as a support type character, unless you're playing solo in a group, having the extra resolve, having the extra resolves is going to be better because, like I said earlier, it allows you to have less to build up, in a sense. Even though you're getting an extra, like you have to build up to an extra resolve, you technically have less to build up when you use your technique or when you use your ability, your ultimate. And then you have Staggering Imposition, which allows you to do 15% more stagger damage, 15% more stagger damage, which just means you're doing more damage to an enemy that's staggered. Not more damage to their stagger bar, but to the actual health bar when they are staggered. You're going to do 15% more damage. But, I mean, for me, I personally don't really care for that because you're not the DPS. The DPS can worry about that. Plus, enemy's health bar is weaker way, way weaker when they are staggered anyways. So you really don't need to worry about having that. Now for perk number 3, you have Soothing Breath, Fire Breath, and Legendary. Just cancel Legendary out. You don't want to use this, especially on the Ronin, because these two are going to be just a lot better in general. Now, Soothing Breath is going to be definitely the best thing to go with, 100%, because it's healing. You're gonna heal yourself and your team in general over time. Fire Breath isn't bad because it allows you to do more damage or direct damage to the enemy's health. It does a lot of damage to enemy's health, especially if you build up ultimate damage and you build up fire damage and use Fire Master, all that stuff to increase the fire damage. It's pretty nice. It does a lot of damage, but again, I think the healing in general is just going to be better to run, especially because it comes in clutch for a lot of different moments. Especially if you're playing a solo Ronin in a survival group, you want to make sure you have that Soothing Breath because it's just going to be better. It's better to have a team that is healed versus being able to burn your enemies. Now, if you run 2 Ronins, maybe you could have one other Ronin run Fire Breath and one running Soothing Breath, but you just gotta make sure the one running Soothing Breath is good enough and can build up their resolve quick enough so that way they can use their ultimate. Even when people are not down, they can still use their ultimate to build up or to heal allies and still build up their ultimate so that way they can revive anyone that's down. Fire Breath, I mean, like I said, it's only good for the damage. That's pretty much it for this video though. If this helped you guys out, go ahead and leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know down in the comment section as well, and I'll try my best to help you guys out to the best of my ability. If you have any suggestions on this build as well, like things that you like to use or just pretty much anything, then just go ahead and leave me a note also, and I will definitely look into it. If you have any other build types that you want me to post, then I'll definitely post it. But you know, for the most part, this is what I think most Ronins should be going with in general, especially if you're playing Nightmare Survival or Nightmare Story in general. Then this is the build you're probably gonna want to utilize. And when the raid comes, I'm pretty sure this build is still gonna be utilized pretty well in the raid. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully, like I said, this helped you guys out. And yeah, this is all the day one on the PS4. Have a good day, good night, and peace.